Well, it's that time again, folks. It's names you wouldn't call your baby time. Names you wouldn't call your baby. Mama. You've got one?
I've got one.
We've had some interesting ones.
I've got two, but one's...
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't call it James, but there you go.
You wouldn't call it James. Well, that's funny, though, because what's your middle name?
James.
It is.
It was going to be my first name.
Really?
Yeah, but my parents said, no, probably won't put them through that.
So I've got to ask you then, for anyone that doesn't know, your name is Alex James Bond.
It is.
I think I've asked you this before, but for some reason it always goes out of my head. Was that intentional by your parents, or was it just a complete chance thing?
In what sense?
Making your middle name James when your surname is
my
Bond?
My first name was going to be James, but then the movies became really popular.
Okay.
So they thought maybe that would be a bad move.
Yeah.
So they put it as my middle name.
Well, it's funny because we were talking about this on a previous episode, and we said about the whole people not recognising when they call their kids like Richard when the surname's Head and things like that. You know, I don't think you've got to have a particularly kind of dirty mind to realise that can be made a joke out of. But anyway, so names you wouldn't call your baby. We digressed again, but I think people are getting used to it. Names you wouldn't call your baby. If you haven't heard the podcast before or you haven't watched the videos before, it's a little feature we do, and it's just a little funny feature where we look at names that you just wouldn't call a tiny little innocent baby because the name's sort of old. It only suits an adult. You know, there are names that are dying out. My name is one of them, which is kind of what spurred the whole thing. So what have we had so far? We've had...
Megatron.
Megatron, that was Rob Yo. We've had Dave, Brian... No, we didn't have Dave, sorry. Dave was on.
Yeah.
And he said Trevor, sorry. But, I mean, come on, Dave. Brian. Derek was last week, and that was Paul Holman. Yeah. And Derek's my favourite so far, actually. So no pressure or anything.
Okay.
But so you've thought of a name?
I have. I've got a name.
Okay, right.
It's okay.
Well, okay. Well,
do you want the history of it? No.
Give us the history of it. Yeah.
Well, it's my uncle's name.
Okay.
So, but it's a bit of a name you sort of say. You know, if you saw that with a baby, you'd think, what an unusual name. But it was obviously popular back when he was born 60 odd years ago. With this name, there's a few celebrities with this name, so it is a well-known name.
Okay.
But it's one you don't associate with a baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm interested. So, Alex, congratulations on your little brown furry baby. It looks very much like Jack Nash's baby, actually. I'm not going to ask what you've been doing, but healthy? Everything
Very
good?
healthy, yeah.
Yeah?
Excellent.
I know I shouldn't ask, but male or female?
Male.
Oh, it's male, of course, because your uncle's name, isn't it?
Yes.
So what did you go for?
Well, this is little Keith.
Keith. That's brilliant, because I said on previous episode about it being your mate's dad's name from the 80s.
Yeah.
And Keith is a very, correct me if I'm wrong, Keith is a very, very 70s, 80s kind of name, I think. My dad's mate was called
Keith.
Keith.
Earlier, because you got Keith Moon, Keith Floyd.
Yes.
Lots of Keiths around the 60s, 70s age now.
Keith.
So you're looking back at the, 1940s.
Oh yeah, of course I'm thinking of like how old I was when he was an adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and it weird. Like I say the 80s because although I did most of my growing up in the 90s, I was born in 79. So and all my parents' dads were like Keith, and now I've gone blank and I can't think of any.
My dad's name Jeff.
Jeff.
You don't,
Baby Jeff.
You don't. There's not names you'd associate as you. The whole point of this thing that you associate with a.
Yeah, I went to school with a Jeff. Baby Keith.
Baby Keith.
I like it, mate. I like it. And I've got nothing against the fact that we went on to Megatron and we went on to Adolf, and that I do think Adolf's probably going to win the season finale. I'm going to throw my little offering in. But I've got a sneaking suspicion. I hope this video and this podcast isn't going to influence people's voting, if anyone even gets involved with it. But I've got a sneaking suspicion that Adolf might win, just because it's...
Put a little poll on the Facebook page.
Oh!
That's the Green Room on Facebook, yeah?
Poll, as in
poll.
Poland.
What?
I thought that was like a little... That's just
No.
my sick mind. I apologise. Right, so here we go.
Oh.
Alex
2, 3,
Bond.
4.
Alex Bond. We have. These are the names. It's getting a bit battered and worn because we use this room as a room to do other things as well. Take that however you want. And this is what we've got so far. We've got Dave Petty, aka DP, Trevor, Danny Lamosa, Adolf, Rob Yo, Megatron, Jack Nash, Brian, Emma Irwin, Apple, Paul Holman, Derek. I'm still liking Derek, but I've got to put yours on, which is very good. Alex Bond 007. And we're going for Keith. Kei.
Yeah, Keith.
So anyone listening to this podcast will have recognised by now that I'm terrible at spelling. I think every name I've written on here, I've had to ask my guest how to spell it. So Alex Bond 007 goes for Baby Keith.